Little minds are big dreamers. They are smart, budding achievers. Let them experience the joy of discovering and get their creative spirit soaring. Children are little prodigies, looking to make discoveries. Young World magazine makes them inquisitive and helps them to become more explorative. There's so much to learn and a lot to ponder. Reading the Hindu in school will make them an all-rounder. Here's a special Sunday magazine for children, where activities and world news grab their attention. Let them see the world in interesting ways and enjoy having productive Sundays. Every child has a hidden talent, waiting to reveal itself at the right moment. Here is a virtual universe of learning and fun, where knowledge and application come together as one. There is something here for every curious little mind in this exciting interactive world that's one of a kind. Always ready and always on the go. Young World Club is a fun place to grow. Experience interesting and interactive educational products for children from the Hindu Group.
Your enterprise is only as healthy as your employees and customers. A business truth that rings even truer in these times. But despite your best efforts, some germs and viruses are particularly hard to get rid of with ordinary floor cleaners that just don't have the disinfecting power of Domex Professional Disinfectant Floor Cleaner. Formulated with the power of sodium hypochlorite as recommended by leading health organizations, it is proven to kill all germs dead, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Domex's powerful formula also removes dirt and mold with ease, leaving a hygienically clean surface. Before you begin cleaning, ensure you are wearing protective gear. For deep disinfection and removal of germs, mold and stains, use it in its undiluted form. Spread it evenly on the desired area. Leave for 15 minutes and then rinse. Based on your needs, you can use Domex Professional Disinfectant Floor Cleaner in the following ways. To disinfect the work surfaces, dilute 200 ml in 2 liters of water, and in case of regular cleaning, dilute just 45 ml in 5 liters of water. For precaution, place the wet floor sign before you begin mopping. Start at the farthest corner and make your way across the room by mopping in a pendulum motion. Rinse the mop in the bucket and squeeze. Dip it once again into the cleaning solution and repeat. Then leave the floor to air dry. Domex's unique formulation will ensure your premises are safe and sparkling clean. Domex Professional Disinfectant Floor Cleaner can also be used to disinfect all high-touch surfaces like counters, doorknobs, switches, and bathroom fixtures. It is engineered with powerful disinfecting formula that helps kill all germs including viruses, bacteria, and fungi. It removes tough stains and molds, eliminates foul odor, and disinfects effectively, be it on high-touch surfaces or hard surfaces like ceramic and granite. We recommend that you always spot test on a small, inconspicuous surface before using. All this is available to you in a convenient 5-liter can, so you can get cleaning and great disinfection. Now that's great value for your money. Unilever Professional, making clean and cleaners matter out of home.
लाइफ बॉय की तरफ से ये संदेश जनहित में जारी है। कोरोना वायरस को फैलने से रोकने के लिए न सिर्फ लाइफ बॉय, आपके पास जो साबुन हो उससे हाथ धोएं या अल्कोहल बेस्ड हैंड सैनिटाइजर का इस्तेमाल करें। आओ साथ मिलकर कोरोना वायरस को इंडिया में फैलने से रोकें।
Coronavirus lasts on surfaces for days. Domex destroys coronavirus in just 60 seconds with the power of sodium hypochlorite to disinfect all surfaces. Domex kills coronavirus dead.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome all to this Back to School with Safety webinar presented by Domex and Lifebuoy, two of the most important products in our life from the house of Unilever in association with the Hindu in School. I am Vaidyanathan, General Manager, West of the Hindu Group, would like to brief you on school products, which is reaching out to over 1 million children today. The Hindu Group school products strive to stimulate and energize the vibrant 5 to 17-year-old students by providing quality content that bridges classroom learning with real world. Our product's judicious mix of relevant content has ensured that it has grown from strength to strength. Being part of the The Hindu group of publications is the legacy of quality journalism. It guarantees content that is both authentic and balanced. The Hindu group school products are an ideal platform to reach future trailblazers of our nation. Our flagship products include the Hindu in School, a broadsheet which is distributed in the classrooms, the Hindu in School Weekender on Sundays, the Hindu Young World magazine, and the Hindu Young World Club. I welcome and introduce the panelists for the webinar today. First, I welcome Mr. Amitava Chatterjee. Amitava is a professional with over 20 years of experience in diverse industries such as infrastructure, paints, cleaning chemicals, and equipment and industrial packaging. Presently, he is heading the Unilever professional business for India as country head and is passionate about creating a world where sustainable cleaning is commonplace. Cleaning in commonplace. Amitava has an engineering degree with a post-graduation in management. Welcome, sir. I also would like to introduce Dr. Nicholas Valerian Correa, Principal of New Horizon Public School, Airoli, and as Executive Director of the New Horizon Group of Schools under the aegis of Nagar Yuvak Shikshan Sanstha. Dr. Correa has served as an academician and educator in esteemed educational institution for the last 27 years. Dr. Correa has served a premier educational institution in a senior post. Dr. Correa has been contributing his thoughts on education in all leading publications, including The Hindu. Welcome, Dr. Correa. I also would like to welcome and introduce Mrs. Vidya Nikhil Purao. She is a principal of SCD Barfiola High School and Junior College. Mrs. Vidya Purao is a state level awardee from Kala Sadhana Kranti, Jyoti Savitri Boy Pule Adarsh Shiksha for 2021. Mrs. Vidya is a passionate educator for 2.5 decades who has unique distinction of heading a state board aided school with all facilities and amenities, which can be compared to any private schools. Welcome, ma'am. The next most important person in this webinar is our moderator, Dr. Seema Negi. Lives by the principles of empathy and gratitude. She stands by the maxim, I am because we are. Dr. Negi is a global goodwill ambassador, an education leader, and the director principal of Sanjeevani World School, Mumbai, India. Coordinator for SAARC Nations Regional Committee for Global Youth Parliament, Secretary General from India for Global Talk Education, and is a proud Rotarian and social ambassador for Indian Development Foundation. President of WICCI, Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Maharashtra, Education Policy Council. She is an eminent speaker, moderator, panelist at various conference events, summits at global platform. I also welcome Mr. Ajit Pothinath, National Head for Hygiene and Cleaning Business, Hindustan Unilever. Now I request Mr. Amitava for his keynote address.
Thank you, Mr. Vaidyanathan, for the introduction. It's an absolute privilege to be amidst such an august gathering of educationists, and welcome to all the viewers, students, teachers, administrators. And thank you to the Hindu for organizing this session, which is very timely, considering the critical nature of the COVID situation around the world and in India. Cleaning and hygiene was never more important than now, as we truly feel concerned of our surroundings and are extremely keen to learn and adopt the best practices within the industry. This fast-changing awareness for hygiene takes roots in the most formative years of our lives. Over the next 20 minutes or so, let me share with you some stories of cleanliness and impact it is having across the globe, and what potentially we can do as we go towards opening up or living in the new normal, as we call it. Can we have the slide up, please? Yeah. Play the video, please.
हम विद्यालय में बाल संसद में उप प्रधानमंत्री और मेरा कार्य है प्रधानमंत्री के साथ रहकर सभी मंत्रियों को काम बताना। 3 साल पहले हमारे घर में शौचालय बनाए गए। हमें 1-2 किलोमीटर दूर जाना पड़ता था घर से। हमें अन्य बीमारी होती थी, जैसे दस्त लगते थे, तो विद्यालय में हमारी उपस्थिति नहीं रहती थी। तो फिर हमारे गुरुजी ने हमको बताया कि शौचालय बना पर
ट्रेनिंग समय समय पे बाल संसद के बच्चों को और बहुत सारे ऐसे काम किए बाल संसद के सहयोग से।
स्वच्छता के बारे में हम मीटिंग रखते हैं बहुत सारी, और उसमें सभी बच्चों को साथ रहकर उनको सभी तरह से स्वच्छता के बारे में समझाते।
स्कूल में सीखा हुआ ज्ञान वास्तव में घर घर तक पहुंचाने का काम बाल संसद के बच्चों द्वारा बेहतर ढंग से किया जाने लगा।
बच्चे कहने मतलब बीमार हो रहे थे, घर आके बोल रहे थे कि मम्मी टॉयलेट बनाओ। इसके पापा से जिद कर रहे थे।
जब हमारे घर पे शौचालय नहीं था तब हमारे बहन और हम दोनों ने जाके घर पे बहुत जिद करते थे, और रोज़ जिद की तब जाकर हमारे पिताजी ने शौचालय बनाया।
तो अभी मेरे बच्चे स्वस्थ हैं, अब कोई बीमारी नहीं है, अच्छे अभी। मेरे बेटे का ये सपना है कि आगे जाके पढ़ाई करेगा और कुछ न कुछ बन के बताएगा ये।
हम बड़े होकर टीचर बनना चाहते हैं।
अगर हमारी जड़ें मजबूत होंगी तो पेड़ मजबूती से खड़ा रहता है। बच्चों की नींव मजबूत होगी तो आगे उनकी लाइफ बहुत अच्छी जा सकती है।
Thank you. This is a glimpse of what's happening in India and how Unilever is also playing a role in it. If you go through, you will see that this is not restricted. This is not restricted to just India. The next video shows you what's happening in another part of the world. Can we have the next video, please?
It was disgusting. It made me feel terribly.
The children would not go to the toilets. They would say, if they are smelling, it's not easy to go in there. They will mess themselves up or hold themselves until they go home.
When I used to hold in, I was shaking.
A child who is not free does not learn.
It distracts me from reading.
My name is Tembi Agnes Zwane. I am a janitor at Sebuhleni Primary. Before we were just cleaning the toilets after school, but now we clean it twice a day. It teaches me a lot.
Right, are you ready?
Yes. There's a pee and a poo at the bottom of the toilet.
Flush it, flush it.
Flush it, flush it.
All away.
All away. And
There are children who are doing better in school now because we've had a less number of children who are sick.
It makes me feel happy. Now that I clean, I like going to school.
Every child has a right to a toilet, and every child has a right to a safe toilet. The community around has a very positive attitude. Everybody was willing to come up with something that is going to help to keep the toilets clean. So the future of the school, I see it brighter.
Thank you. So what you witnessed in the videos clearly spell out the advantages that come out of having a clean and hygienic environment in a school setting. And COVID definitely has enhanced our learning curve and focus on disinfection. Can we have the next slide, please? So some of these are information that is pretty generic, but I think it does help if we were to run through it. Hand definitely is the principal carrier of disease-causing germs. So you have seen the key part of keeping yourself safe is to clean hands as frequently as you can. Surprisingly, respiratory viruses can leave on surfaces for weeks. Gastrointestinal bacteria and viruses can leave on surfaces for months. Poor access to sanitation and hygiene contributes to 88% of childhood deaths, and 443 million school days are lost every year because of water-related illness. 1 in 3 primary schools worldwide does not have hand washing facilities. And these are real data that's collected all over the world. And we have the next slide, please. So, of course, some of the most important part, as you see, is to have a safe school. And for that, primarily 3 key messages: wash hands, choose the right product, have an alcohol-based sanitizers, make the sanitizer stations as frequent and accessible as possible, use napkins and the right disposal stations for them as well. And of course, have an efficient use of water resources. This is going to be critical as well. Do clean and disinfect. There are many products available in the market. It's always recommended that you look to the ones that actually have the right claims and certifications. Ensure that the high-touch surfaces such as tables, desks, railings, all of these are disinfected in a set frequency, and the frequency needs to be higher at this time for sure. And please do adhere to the recommended dilutions of the chemicals that you're using. Do plan and manage well. So it is important that you set up an SOP or the standard operating procedure for your schools post the COVID as you open up. You do have the right protective equipments in place for the people and the janitorial staff who are using it. Have a waste disposal process and have a clear checklist to monitor, as you know what works is when you monitor it regularly. Yeah. I would like to spend a little bit time on this because this is very critical in terms of having the hygiene culture. And with all the educationists in this forum right now, who better would understand that it all starts with building habits. A lot of time of cleanliness of school is tied to the funding, I'm aware, but as a parent, teacher, or even simply as a concerned citizen, here are a few things that we can do. Ensure the janitors are trained. Just putting a map or a mop or a vacuum cleaner in the hands of the cleaner does not ensure that she's able to do her job in the most effective manner. It is important that the basic science of the job is well understood, with emphasis on how to prevent cross-contamination. Your chemical supplier could be of immense help. Scrutinize your cleaning protocol and RFP. Do ensure that your cleaning service is not cut to the lowest service bidders. But once done, ensure the operators are held to their deliverables. Work with your chemical supplier as well as the operator to establish the right cleaning plan. Advocate for better cleaning standards and programs. It's important not to do simply the bare minimum, but adopt the most effective plan. Adopt existing standards or use existing best practices. And something important, do thank a cleaner. The single most important thing a parent, student, or a teacher or administrator can do to improve cleaning in schools is show appreciation for the people doing the job. The task, honestly, I think we have all been in the lockdown situation, so I think we appreciate that this task is hard and often thankless. So showing the custodial workers that you see them and appreciate the work they are doing goes a long way. While there are mixed feelings on the best way to educate the children in the importance of a clean surrounding, this is definitely one of the key things that would help them to build the sense of gratitude for the janitorial job, which normally is looked down upon. So nothing stops and nothing can be better than a regular and repetitive practical training to enhance everybody's capability. And it's also important that you speak up against stigma for helping some of the students who might be coming back or maybe having cases happen in their house. Yeah. Next slide, please. So here is an example of some of the key areas that needs to be cleaned. As you can see, whether it is the classroom, it's the desks, the chairs, the cafeteria, if you are keeping it open, and if the students are using it, libraries, if you have it, the railings, and so on and so forth. These are extremely important to identify and have a clear cleaning regime implemented. You can see that most of these can actually be done with very simple chemicals. So it's not very complicated, but ensure you do choose the right one. Next slide, please. Few more interesting points. You know, normally the most key part of cleaning and hygiene is focused on the washrooms. And it's important because when it gets dirty, that's not somewhere you will be, it's possible for you to stop because it's supposed to be getting dirty, right? So it's important that you clean post usage. And as you saw in some of the videos, possibly having an increased frequency of cleaning them is very important as you move post-COVID into your schools. You can use products, simple products, including the toilet bowl cleaner that you see here at a regular frequency. I want to highlight that these are products which are actually certified with claims, and it leaves behind a residual effect of over 3 to 4 hours. You have the most approved chemical of most effective is hypochlorite bleach, and you do have a surfactant-based hypochlorite chemical in Domex disinfectant. You do have the Domex disinfectant sprays as well for you to actually clean on the high-touch areas. Next, please. For the rest of the places, a very effective source of cleaning are these germ removal wipes. Comes with claims. At times, it's even seen that what works best is when you possibly hand over to your students a packet of these wipes, which helps them to keep their surroundings clean. And of course, some of the very key high-touch areas are the switches, the door handles, stairways, and railings. Yeah. Next slide. You see here an entire product portfolio to make the life of the cleaning staff and the administrators extremely easy and non-complicated. Most of these products that you see could potentially keep your premises with the right safety protocol that you would want to implement. So a disinfectant spray with a sodium hypochlorite technology actually cleans and disinfects and removes 99.99% germs. The sodium hypochlorite in a 5-liter or 2-liter pack, perfect for cleaning your other surfaces, including floors. You have the toilet bowl cleaner. It has a patented technology that actually keeps your toilets smelling fresh for a much longer period of time and kills germs. Of course, the wipes, as we said, perfect for usage, especially for high-touch areas. So whether you are recommending it for your janitorial staff, or even for that matter, personally, to keep your surroundings safe, and to ensure that you have something relevant available to you is a Domex germ removal wipes. Next slide, please. This is very important, and we would like to highlight that possibly the only product range in the market which also has a Green Pro certification. So basically, this is an equivalent to a green product evaluated to be compliant to the volatile organic compound that you normally find in other chemicals, and it's safe for use in most of the facilities. So the entire range is Green Pro certified, and should you wish to go into the CII websites, you'll actually find this listed there as well. Next slide, please. I think we cannot obviously emphasize any more the importance of hand disinfection in the safety of the individual. As they say, the health is in your hand. The practice of 20-second hand washing is critical for safety and hygiene, not only for the students, but also for the teachers and staff. It is also important that adequate hand washing and hand sanitizing stations are made available across the facility that would enable hand sanitizing on the go. Having short sessions every day in class at the beginning of the class, finding hand washing technique, or maybe just singing the happy birthday song as you wash your hands, go a long way in instilling these good habits. As we always say, never forget that thumb when you wash, or did you wash your hands for 20 seconds? Wherever possible, do resort to alcohol hand rubs to sanitize. Next slide, please. This is a quick snapshot on one of the programs that we did. I think it will be familiar to some of you, where Unilever Professional, Domex, and Lifebuoy partnered with the school, and you can see what could possibly instill confidence within the children and within the staff when they are coming back, especially when they come back in groups. Yeah. So I would like to end by saying that, we are going through something that has been unprecedented, but we are also confident that we would all come out of this stronger and wiser. Let us seize this opportunity to build hygiene habits that will stand the test of time and prepare us for a better future. As Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And Unilever will always remain by your side as a trusted partner in this journey. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I now request Dr. Seema Negi to take over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Amitwa. Indeed, it was very, very empowering last half an hour, wherein we just did not talk about the benefits of health and hygiene. But I personally believe when we talk about school, apart from regular curriculum, there is something called hidden curriculum, and that is the culture of the school. And today you very well spoke about how we need to set up this culture, the culture of remaining safe, the culture of safety habits, and the culture of expressing gratitude, because the heart which is full of gratitude is open to abundance. So let's begin our panel discussion by expressing gratitude to all the people because of whom we are here, sitting here safe today. So with that, let's begin the discussion. As we all know that schools are really grappling with multiple challenges, and UNICEF key message regarding COVID-19 and virus-free schools include 3 steps. And these 3 major steps are: identify sick students, parents, and staff before they enter the school. Second is educate and demonstrate positive hygiene practices. And third is clean and disinfect facilities regularly. And this is not something that we have to do, say, a day at a time. No, it is something that we have to do rigorously every day, throughout the year. So it needs to become our culture. So moving ahead, first, I would like to ask you, Mr. Amitwa, because you spoke a lot about the safety products. So what personal protective equipment, that is PP requirement and recommendation, do you consider for schools now when we are planning to reopen?
Yeah, very, very good question. I think when we talk about protective equipment, there are two aspects to it. And I'm presuming one part will be about handling chemicals for janitorial staffs, which I will focus on at this point of time. And I would suggest that any chemical to be used, please read the label, especially if it is from a reputed brand. It will always have the directions on the back of the label. If you're getting into a professional kind of a supplier, like an Unilever professional, you have resource, you have access to people and experts who can train the staff in terms of the best practices. Normally, a glove during preparation of a solution in the beginning of the day is necessary. There should ideally be an eye wash station in a facility that is installed, just in case there are any untoward incidents that happen. A lot of schools do have a doctor on call, for example, for other reasons, and normally any incident that could happen from a chemical can be handled by these doctors. So you do not necessarily need to take any unduly aggressive stance on it. But yes, you need to follow the set standards for handling chemicals. Some of the points, like the wipes usage, is hence highly recommended because they can be used and they are safer for skin as well. So you should promote those kind of products as well, where you need to disinfect and clean more frequently. Of course, as you know, again, there has been a lot of talks on hand sanitizers or hand washers. Again, it is very important that you actually choose the right hand sanitizer. You have possibly, many of us have seen, there are multiple variants. Sticking to a particular reputed brand is important. Looking at the product profile, for example, it needs to be a little over 60% ethanol is the most effective, as you will find possibly in a Lifebuoy hand sanitizer. So these are some of the steps that I would recommend.
Thank you, Mr. Amitwa. Moving ahead, as we all know that we are getting ready to open school. So we know schools will reopen, virus will persist. So are we really ready to protect our students, our teachers, and our community? So Vidya ma'am, I would like to know from you, how will you deliver on effective hand washing and sanitizing needs? Because now this is not something that is what we have to do at regular interval, but that is something that we have to make it a habit. It is not something that, okay, we want to, initially our students used to use sanitizer and they used to feel very good about it. Oh, wow, I have a sanitizer and I'm using it. But now it is a life-saving device. So I would like to hear it from you.
Going back to 2020, 21st March, I think we all were unaware about this coronavirus. That time we were told all of a sudden by our education department that we have to go online. We were all unaware as to how we were going to teach online. But we all have learned it and we are now actually teaching our students online. Similarly, if we can learn those things, we can also inculcate these habits in our students. And as sir rightly said in the beginning, that, you know, like if you play some jingles on your PA system, okay, now take out the sanitizer and clean your hands. Or as we start in the beginning of the year, we have orientation programs for our parents as to how the school functions. We can have such orientation programs online before we actually call the students to the school. So all this can be done, and I think students will enjoy, and students always listen to their teachers. So that is the biggest weapon in our hand,
that yes, we are teachers and students listen to us. So I think it is very easy for us to inculcate these good habits in our children.
Rightly said, students always look up to their teachers and they do listen to them. And I think now each and every child is waiting to come back to school. And we as educators are really looking forward to it, because ultimately when we go to our school, we think we are entering a building, not a school, because the soul is missing. So moving ahead, Dr. Nicholas, I would like to know from you, suppose the schools are open, students are back to school, but then what will be the triggers for closing the schools again after reopening?
Sir, you need to Sir, you need to unmute. You need to unmute.
It's a wonderful question. If we go back to Jan 2021, most of the schools, teachers and the students are too happy because they were back to school. State governments across the country gave permission to reopen schools. Even in Maharashtra, many of the districts opened the school, except for few districts, few places like Mumbai, metropolitan region, or in Pune, or in Nagpur. Rest of Maharashtra, I think schools are open. All were very happy. I think when these protocols, when certain relaxation were given for reopening, people also got little relaxed and they thought back to normal. When everyone thought back to normal, I think people started gathering in groups. They were back again with the play equipments, forgot about social distancing, forgot about basic protocols of safety. And this trigger, I think this is one of the main reasons, this relaxation and casual attitude can be one of the main reason for the trigger. I think yesterday we heard from Honorable Chief Minister in the conference, I think in the address to the state, I think situation is grievous, and within a day or two, I think there can be a square one decision, which I think he doesn't want to declare lockdown, but again, situation is very serious. Otherwise, if we as citizens don't take care, I think lockdown is imminent. So just we need not be casual. I think we need to, as Mr. Amitwa Chatterjee said, we need to make it as a culture. Safety, hygiene need to be our culture. Just we add so many good practices in our school culture. Safety and hygiene also need to be one of the good practices now. As Vidya Madam said, teachers are the best models to teach, and it can be taught through jingles in the assembly, in the orientation programs. Yes, we need to orient parents and the children and also the public. That's not enough. Public, when we say, yes, we say generally it is only, do I carry or do I the transmitter of this virus? No, I'm not alone. If you go back to 1 year, it was mainly the adults who were affected. If you see today, it is mostly the children. And that too, they are not aware. They're asymptomatic. And they carry, I think they become the main transmitters because they are not aware that they are affected. And you just count the chain in which they come in contact with. So this triggers again, because they go around, they play in the equipments, others come there, they touch around. I was just watching a video in the YouTube, I think somewhere in Kalyan. I think one of the doctors in his own society asked a small boy to wear his mask. And without mask, he was not allowing him to use the lift. But the boy was not ready to listen. Then I think he complained to his parent, and the parent reacted very badly. I think all citizens need to understand we cannot react. It is not a matter of reaction. It is not only a matter of one person. It is a matter of society. It is a matter of the entire state. Entire globe is fighting this pandemic. So we need to be responsible. So triggers, we cannot be one or two triggers. There are various triggers. Responsibility is one of the main triggers. We've all become responsible and become sensitive to the need of not only oneself, but also of others' health. I think things should be back to normal.
So very well said, Dr. Nicholas. We need to be responsible not only for our own health, but responsible for the entire community, our society, country, nation, and world at large. That is something that we have to begin with. And the attitudinal change, which is really important. I mean, that's something we have seen in Maharashtra, Mumbai also. The attitudinal change has still not come. You have given a very good example of the child who was not wearing mask and how parents are reacting to that. I think we need to understand students are the harbinger of change. They are the one who can become the social ambassador if they inculcate these values. And these values are joint responsibility, not just school, but school and parents together. So if we can do that, then definitely we can hope for a better tomorrow. So moving ahead, Mr. Amitwa, I would like to ask from you, from your expertise, how should school provide care for students who may potentially be the carrier of this virus?
Yeah, so I think if you look at WHO or CDC recommendations also globally, there are various standards that's being followed globally, and it depends on the country, the community, the place where you are located, for example. I can just give you one or two examples. So if you look at Singapore as a country, a much smaller country, they have actually adopted something called a token system, yeah, where they actually have a digital way of tracking for every student their health, which goes beyond the school and into their home as well. Now, of course, that is possible because of Singapore, a smaller country, the population is much small, it's possible to implement. You go back to a country like England, again, of course, a much developed country, but they are primarily considering imposing or creating a social bubble, yeah, where every individual sections are kind of only allowed to keep in touch, maintaining the 2-meter distance where possible, at times reducing to 1 meter, of course, within the classrooms, demarcating places, having weekly temperature and rapid tests being done, mandatory, not just for the students, but also for the staff initially, to ensure that you can at least track it. There is no foolproof way. I wish there was, but I think the whole world is still grappling over it. But we can only take these preventive precautions of constant monitoring at a set frequency as the students come back. Very important that we make it very aware for the students that there is no stigma if there was somebody who felt sick. It is important to stay at home and nothing could be missed, even if they don't come to school. So these few key steps that I am aware is being taken in many other schools, and I'm sure will also help as we move into it.
The very important message that I can take from your answer is parents need to understand that if the child is unwell and the child does not attend the school, trust me, the child is not missing out on anything. In fact, the child is showing how responsible he or she is by not coming to school. So I want all the educators and parents to take this message that school is always standing behind the child. What you need to do is inculcate right habit. Thank you so much, Mr. Amitwa. That was really empowering. Now, moving ahead, Vidya ma'am, as we know that as educators, we have to face a lot of challenges, and these challenges are over and above our academic commitments. We have to work on social distancing. Our teachers will have to teach wearing the mask, which sometimes might be very difficult to take 35 minutes class wearing mask. So their health, their hygiene, everything is our responsibility now. So how do you think when students will come back to school, how will you deal with students and teachers' social and emotional needs, because they will be coming back to school after a very long period?
For example, like we are a state board school, and each class we have about 60 students. Naturally, we cannot call all the 60 students on a particular day. So we will have to divide them, like 30 students on one day and 30 on the next day. Also, the sitting arrangement we'll have to take care of, like we can ask them to sit in the Z form where we can maintain social distancing. Now, like when the teachers are teaching, they're talking. So it's better that they use more of the audiovisual aids. Like if you have smart boards in every classes, say that actual teaching can be of 10 minutes and then the students can just watch it on the smart board. Now, we always say that supposing a person keeps a fast for a month, and the day he has to break his fast, he will not start with his solid food. We always go for the liquid food, then the semi-solid, and then we come to the solid food. Now, children who have not come for a year to the school, we cannot start directly with the curriculum. So we need to, have some activities. Such activities which will, have a bonding between the students because they have missed their friends for a year. So some activities, some quiz or some any other activity where, that team spirit will develop in the students. Initially, we can have some competitions, like some drawing competitions. So slowly, like after a week, after 15 days, we can then shift over to the actual curriculum. So this is how we are planning at our school.
That's beautiful. And that Z seating arrangement definitely will maintain social distancing also. And whenever students will come back, because we still do not know, I think each one of us will be more focused on their social emotional need, the play policy of school, and ensuring that I think the role of counselor will become much more important than any other academic subject. We as educators know that we'll take care of academics, but before that, it's the social emotional needs of our students which needs to be taken care of. And equally important is the need of our teachers also that we have to take care of. So moving ahead, Dr. Nicholas, question which is again in conjunction with the question that I asked Vidya ma'am, we have spoken about the social emotional need of students and staff, but how do you ensure the safety and security, which is not just physical form, but the kind of fear that they have in their mind? So how do you ensure that you will provide them that kind of safety and security where they're out of this corona fear, where they are coming to school with free will, where they are not forced to come to school because school is calling them to teach or parents are calling children to teach? How will we deal with that?
Seema madam, when I first heard this topic, back to school with safety, I just recollected a 1986 American comedy film, Back to School, in which a wealthy but uneducated father goes back to his school to show solidarity with his discouraged son. And he learns that education cannot be bought and happiness cannot be bought. He needs his company. So today, when we speak about safety, so emotional safety is one of the very important aspects in the lives of children. It's not only children, even the teachers. Last 1 year had been a great spoiler, also a great educator. I can't say spoiler, can't label it as a spoiler, but the situation has created in such a way, maybe because of the compulsion, children are stuck to the electronic devices. Recently, one of the parents came to me and said, sir, my child is always on the electronic device. It is very difficult to know whether the child is studying or is gossiping or is doing something unwanted. I'm unaware because he's all the time with the electronic device. I just advised him, my dear parent, yes, we need to trust our children. So we can have a conversation, we can have a sincere and healthy communication with the child will definitely open up. So when he opens up, what happens? He is taking out what is inside. He will speak. Though the child would avoid, there would be something which would come out. There would be a clue enough for the parents to get to know whether a child needs a support. If at that time child speaks out something maybe about some emotional well-being or that he needs certain help, so definitely if the parents cannot give on their own, they can speak to teachers. Even in the school, we have got counselors. Counselors can come to their help. So they are professionally trained how to handle such cases. So now safety issues, yeah, in the schools, I think many of the schools during this COVID-19 pandemic have started specific corners like talk to someone. So they can speak to someone, they might be naming it with different names. So they can speak to the teacher, or they can speak to a counselor, or they can speak to any other person with whom that child is comfortable with. So here the child feels comfortable. Now here when you speak about safety, here comfort is one of the very important thing for the child. We need to create that comfort for the child, because we do not know last year what has happened. What are those things child has observed, imitated, and learned behind the curtain? So we are not aware. So teacher is online teaching the child, inquires, but behind the curtain, what is happening, even teacher is not aware. So we cannot wait for the child to come to school. So it is very important through interaction, and maybe through any other way. Maybe we can also conduct various competition. I think somewhere in December, our drawing teachers conducted certain competitions, and we found some of the competitions through some of the paintings, a child was speaking, giving a message. Then I had to ask one of our teachers, yes, speak to the child, because the image seemed to be a child was looking very exclusive and apart from the rest of the group. So this sometimes pictures, sometimes articles also speak. I think we need to read between the line, find various aspects through which we can locate a problem and create safety for the child.
That's very well put up, because many of the times we have seen the way children scribble, you come to know the mood of student, how the student is feeling or behaving. So that was very well put up, Dr. Nicholas. So moving ahead, before we go to the next set of questions, there's a very quick question I want to ask from all the three empowered panelists. I want you to give one mantra for everyone who is attending the session today, one mantra to reopen the school with complete safety and security. Let's start from you, Mr. Amitwa.
Well, as I mentioned in my presentation also, I would like to say, remember, safety is in your hand. So please practice, consider, and I have personally seen that when you create an environment of hygiene anywhere, like your home, you know, we are Asian, and I have seen across Asia, Asians are very proud about their home. And if we could create a similar boundary and a bubble where we feel that the educational institute is an extension of hygiene and safe environment, I think that's the goal that we should strive for.
Perfectly said. And if we look behind and if we go and learn from our history, I think we all have learned about the Great Bath and the drainage system. So we are the country who firmly believes in cleanliness. I mean, still we remove our shoes out of the house, and the moment we enter our house, the practices that you have to go clean yourself and then come. So these are few age-old practice, which I think during the passage of time we had forgotten. And I often say, always consider a crisis as a good opportunity to learn. So it's time we learn these practices and move ahead. So Vidya ma'am, your success mantra, please.
Yeah, I will say protect yourself and try to protect your students. Wear a mask and use sanitizer. That's my mantra.
That's lovely, and that comes from an educationist, because when we say protect ourselves and immediately you went to protect your students, family comes pretty behind for us. It's always our students first. So very well said. That I could see the teacher coming out of you. Dr. Nicholas, your mantra, please.
We need to be very, very positive about what all the protocols to be followed in our school. When I protect myself, I protect everyone else around in the society.
That's lovely, because it all starts from us. We have to take care of ourselves, then only we can take care of society. Now moving to the second sector, wherein I really want you to deliberate on we have spoken about the safety, we have spoken about the security, the emotional, social well-being, everything. But Mr. Amitwa, do you feel, considering here in Mumbai, or let's take the example of entire country, are we really ready to open the school? And if yes, what are the guidelines? Although you have spoken about the guidelines in detail, but what are the 2 or 3 main points that you want everyone to understand, that so you can repeat those points so that it is ingrained in our minds and brains that yes, this is what is the need of the hour?
Yeah, so few points. I think it's very important that we remain flexible and we follow the local guidelines. As you know, if you have a pocket, you know, the way the municipality is actually approaching in Mumbai is amazingly efficient, if you may say so. The way they are, you know, completely locking down certain areas, please follow those rules and don't go out of the way for sure to force open an institution. That is very, very key. But having said that, even if you are opening up, please set a very clear guideline for a cleaning and hygienic institution. There are cases, I have 2 children, and I know that many of the teachers sometimes, or the administrators, are having to go back to school, even if it is in small numbers. It is important that you maintain the facilities with the right protocol as if you have the entire school operating. And that is not only going to ensure the safety of the teachers and the administrators who are going back, but it will prepare for a day when you are open and you are allowing the students to walk back through those gates. So this is what I would like to highly recommend. And please, it is not complicated. It is about getting, I know many of the administrators have already got very much involved and are very much aware about the hygiene practices. Choose the right protocol, choose the right people who can support you on that.
Thank you so much. So, Mrs. Vidya, as Mr. Amitav rightly said, setting, getting, and I'll add something, setting, getting, and achieving. So how do we ensure that when we are reopening the school, we are following all the 3 attributes? We are setting the right standard, we are getting the right things, and we are achieving what we have desired for.
See, actually, last year when we were closing the school, we were not ready for it. So the question that is, are we ready now to reopen the school? I think until and unless the students come to school, we will not understand what difficulties we are going to face. So once we face those difficulties, then only we can find out solutions to overcome those difficulties. Now already our students know that yes, when they are entering the school, thermal checks are going to be done. Once they sit on their bench, or before sitting on their own bench, they are going to use those wipes to clean the benches. As and when in between we are going to play those jingles so that students know that they are going to use the sanitizer. Now, as we were giving recess in the pre-corona period, we cannot give recess to all the students at one time. So it has to be, we have to allow them to use the washroom like class-wise. Another thing is that teachers also need to, like every day in the assembly, we need to inform, we need to educate the students as to what precaution in a day they have going to take. So I think when we follow all the protocols, all the SOPs given by the government, let us have a positive frame of mind. Let us move ahead and let us understand what are the difficulties we are going to face. Let us ourselves find the solutions for those difficulties. I think that is the way we are going to function once the schools reopen.
So thank you, Vidya ma'am. Yes, we have to find out the solution because every situation comes with a solution. So with that positive note, Dr. Nicholas, I would like to ask you, like last year was disaster-driven digitalization. This year is well-planned digitalization, whether it is online or it is hybrid module or it is physical school. And again, the question remains, are we ready?
Yes, when you say for physical schooling, if I see overall scenario across the country and especially in Maharashtra, we are not fully ready. if I see, I don't speak about my school, but if I see the entire scenario across the country and across the state, we are not ready. But in the meantime, we cannot say that we are not ready. We need to find ways out. So today or tomorrow, we need to get ready. Maybe this situation right now, cases are rising, it might be a particular phase. So by June, the situation might be back to normal. So we need to prepare the children psychologically. Now it is very important. So prepare, I think I just remember one of the lines of the famous Russian revolutionary and the architect of Soviet Russia, Vladimir Lenin. There are decades where nothing happens and there are weeks where decades happen. So now we need to wait for where decades would happen. So for last 1 year, I think there would be so many things which were not done for decades together. We could do in 2 or 3 days, becoming and making it normal. That is a new normal, that is teaching online. So teachers never imagined. Same way now, we are well prepared. We are well prepared for a situation for reopening, but we do not know when once the children start coming to school, that again would be a new situation. So those conditions, those compulsions, we do not know what are those compulsions going to be, because only once the children come to school, we come to know what are those problems. We need to understand ours is a tropical country where we sweat continuously. So when children come to school, definitely they are going to touch various parts in the classroom, maybe the doors, maybe the desk. Whatever way we disinfect the places, whatever we try to do, children are children. So we cannot keep one person behind one cleaning person behind one child. It's practically not possible. Maybe if there are 2,000 children, 3,000 children. So how are we going to manage? So we need to educate children with the basic requirement. Earlier they used to carry books. Now everything is going through soft copies. So instead of carrying books, now what else they need to carry? Maybe there are certain PPEs. Yes, may not be those PPEs which are available in the medical kit. So we need to have certain things which you need to keep in our bag. Maybe certain handkerchiefs, certain cloths, and certain sanitizers, certain requirement. So along with the basic things which are there, we need to also take changeovers if required. So books can be managed easily in today's world because that is easily available. We have got in the classrooms smart classes and digital aided education is available in the class. But what is required is the safety protocols which each and every parent need to train the child. Maybe even certain, maybe we need to take certain liquids. So those liquids also we can take from home, not just water. Maybe you say khadas, maybe that required in the school, we can take it. So if you go to China and see, they have taken for granted, Corona is going to remain once and for all. So take it part of your life. And there even the children have made it part of their life and they are going to school thinking that there is a problem, mentally they are prepared. So we need to prepare ourselves first as teachers and prepare children also mentally and also the parents. So once everyone is mentally prepared, we are back to school with normal situation. Even if Corona is there, we can go back to school.
Very well said, sir. As I said in the beginning, schools will reopen, virus will persist. It will. And very soon we will realize that in the list of many viruses, there is one more virus, that is coronavirus. And you rightly said we need to prepare children psychologically because, again, children are the social ambassador. They are the ambassador of change, and they are the one who can actually change the habit from the entire society, of the entire society. They are the one who can tell their parents it is mandatory to wear mask and go. It is mandatory to sanitize your hands. You know, they are the one who everybody looks up to when it comes to, I think Mr. Amitabh has shown a PPT wherein it was like two children, they said, हमने जिद की तो toilet बने. So sometime this zid is very, very important क्योंकि जब बच्चे जिद करते हैं तो changes होते हैं. So now I'll just take this last question and I want each one of you to ponder on that. And to all the participants, please, you can write your questions in the Q&A box so that we can take the question after this last question. how do we prepare children psychologically? I think Dr. Nicholas has given a very good example of China. Now, what about India? What about Mumbai? What about other states? How will we prepare our children psychologically to come back to school? We'll start with you, Mrs. Vidya.
Oh, I'm just waiting for my students to come back to school. So I think, see, as rightly said, this virus is not going to go, it's going to remain. So we need to be brave. We need to make our students brave enough to face it. I think if we as educators, we as teachers, if we tell them the right things at the right time, and as we all know that students listen to the teachers more than their parents, they listen to the teachers. So yes, we all need to be brave enough. Seema ma'am, I can see you, you're sitting in your own cabin. So that shows that what come may, we are going to go to school. So if we can, yes, you can also. So let us be positive, make our students positive, and also the parents, that come what may, we are there for your kids and we will take care of them when they are in the school. That's it.
That's lovely, Vidya ma'am. An educator and a mother, I think that comes that way. And definitely as a leader, we need to establish the practice. It's if we come first, then we can call our staff and then students. So that's was beautifully put. Yes, Mr. Amitwa, as a parent also, I need to ask from you that how do you prepare your children psychologically? You said you have 2 children. So how do you prepare?
So I think I will actually take from your words, because you made a very, very good comment on, that we have possibly forgotten the terms of cleanliness is next to godliness, something that we always grew up with. And you absolutely rightly said that there were many, many good practices that exist in India. And we possibly still follow it. And I'm sure we follow it. We wash our hand, our feet every time. Physical purity is possibly the first step that any, irrespective of the type of religion you follow, will take you to divinity, has always been the case. So I feel, and taking on the positivity, it is absolutely possible to, reinstill these habits. I would definitely say that, for the children, they learn the best, they learn the fastest, and they adopt based on examples they see. And this is true, they are faster learners, but that is true for all of us. You will find a clean surrounding automatically forces you to behave in the set format, and you hate to actually dirty those premises. I'll give you one more very small example of industries that actually already practice this. For example, if you get into hospitality industry, the hotels, and you look at the housekeeping staff, they have imbibed this principle of cleanliness, because as they say, the guest is next to God, and they clean every room so meticulously to ensure that it is hygienically clean. And they are able to do it because they follow a set protocol and SOP in place. So these are all examples of things that is happening around us in this country for many years now. We need to adopt best practices, we need to learn from them, and we need to make it a part and parcel of our life. I think that is the simple mantra, nothing very difficult. It all lies again in our hand.
So it all begins with I am the mind. If I am set, everything is set. So coming to you, Dr. Nicholas, your last words of wisdom related to the same question. How do you prepare children?
Dr. Seema, I think he just moved out, it looks like.
Yes, I cannot see him. So we'll go ahead with the question answer, because I can see a lot of questions here now. So the first question is, it is difficult for teachers to teach with the mask and they are bound to break the basic rules. So as educator, how should the head of institution deal with this situation? So Mr. Amitwa, though you are not directly related to education sector, but what if this question is posed to you? How do you think an educationist need to deal with this, or the head of the institution needs to deal with this?
Yes, I fully understand. And, even as working professional, we know it's very, very difficult to keep working with a mask on for like a stretch of 10 hours or 12 hours. It's important that you adopt the right kind of mask. A lot of time, what has been in WHO parlance recommended is a surgical mask is good enough. Yeah, it needs to be disposed of. Preferably use a disposable mask if you are using it for a longer period of time, because the cloth masks become very difficult for a sustained usage, as an educationist would require, I would presume. Sometimes you need to change it at a regular interval and dispose them off. A lot of talks, and I just overheard, and I know again, because that's how my children are learning, is through digital medium. So adopting more of digital medium to teach, even they're back. So maybe multimedia means using maybe PA systems so that the distances are adequate would definitely help significantly. That's my part of what I feel could help.
So I completely agree. Like when we have exposed our children to the positive aspect of digitalization, I think we should not wean it off from their lives now. We have to make an ideal balance between our technology and our regular classrooms. So moving ahead, Vidya ma'am, there's a question, very interesting question. Everybody's asking this question basically. How do you teach pre-primary kids to maintain social distancing in the class? Because I think that will be the biggest challenge.
See, right now we don't know whether the pre-primary kids would be allowed to come to school. They are too small to understand certain things. Like, see, as a secondary school principal, I know that I can train my students of standard 8, 9, and 10 because they are matured enough. But talking about the pre-primary, they are too small to understand all these things. Here again, if we, like if there is in a class, there are about 30 to 35 students. I think there also we would have to call only 15 students at a time, so that automatically social distance is can be maintained. Also, I would like to add on to the first question, like as a principal, we can plan the lectures in such a way that we, as say, we have to conduct 9 periods in a day. So instead of having 9 periods, we can call the students only for 5 periods. And in those 5 periods also, when we are allotting the periods to the teacher, in a day, a teacher should get only 2 to 3 periods. And there should be a gap between the 2 lectures. So if as a principal, if we consider all these points, I think we can work on it. And as I said that once the students start coming to school physically, we will face difficulties, yes, but then at that time only we can find out the solutions for those difficulties. Sitting at home right now, we cannot say that what are we going to face once the students start coming to school. See, for first 10 days, we may not have any difficulties at all. But later on, maybe as on the 15th day, there may be a different problem in the school. So as and when the problem arises, let us find a solution for it. I think that is what...
Very rightly said. Yes. I think, Vidya ma'am, we as educators have understood that it's not just plan A.
Yeah.
If plan A fails, we still have B to Z. So we have all the plans ready and we'll jump for that. And that is what I think entire education fraternity has shown, that they were always there for their children, whether plan A, B, D, Z, whatever it is. And now this question is directed to Amitwa sir. Sir, the question is... again, that we are discussing from a very long time. After the reopening of school, if there is a lockdown once again, how are the educators going to prepare the students in their mental health and their studies?
Yes, I think it's not very hypothetical. We are seeing next waves coming through, and also there are very clear indications that it may still continue. As I mentioned, it is very important that we handle, like all crises, in a very flexible manner. We are learning what we knew a year back. I think we know much better a year later. We need to follow the local guidelines. We need to follow what the municipality is doing. Again, I would repeat, not be very clear that you are sourcing information as a parent, from valid sources. Yeah, so it's a verified source and not rumors. So please do not go by those. It is mandatory, I think, with the vaccination happening. I know till now, I think, other than, if I'm not mistaken, Pfizer, nobody has gone beyond 12 years of vaccination. But even that is still not being promoted in India. But I am sure over the next few months, it will be opening up to every individual other than the children. So please do vaccinate. And that is possibly what we can do, as Madam Vidya mentioned, that if you are concerned about the students, we all should vaccinate. The parents should vaccinate. And that is mandatory to safeguard not just us, for others. It is going to be a challenge to handle pre-primary, because I think every schools are making that the last phase of opening. But having, again, I would say, preparing now is the time to prepare for the opening, because we will open. And setting the standards will be the right time now to prepare for it. You know, demarcating classes, ensuring that you have sitting places being demarcated. And having that, you know, rigor of follow-up of processes in place will only prepare us better. I think that's what at least keeps me going, looking forward to that future of having our, you know, children getting back. It's important that they will be bringing back a lot during the transportation to school, for example. And you know, even setting those parameters, if you have school buses, that you only have one children a seat, or how do you manage that with so many children to come up? Important questions, not an answer that we all have right now, but I think we should prepare, and the phase-wise opening will help. That's what I feel.
Yes, thank you so much. And here I would like to add that parents, educator, when your children will travel by school bus, do not forget to thank the bus cleaner, bus didi, and bus bhaiya at the end of the day, because they are the one who are taking care of your children. So we have Dr. Nicholas here. Dr. Nicholas, there's a question by Kusum Kanwar. It's a very interesting question. It says a mindset change is required in the full system. How do we bring about that change? And is it possible? Also, the question says, another question, what are the chances of back to school without everyone being vaccinated? A regulatory body monitoring it, will it help? So I will only add that now, as we know that anyone and everyone who is more than 45 years of age can get the vaccine. I have taken the vaccine, so just doing a bit of promotion. I have taken the vaccine. Please take the vaccine. Dr. Nicholas, please answer this question.
Yes. I think sorry for, I think there was a certain problem with the internet connection, got disconnected. So I think even I have taken the vaccine. I think teachers come in the front line, and teachers are also, I think, given this, I think they have got just like senior citizens, teachers have got a separate group there. Wherever you go to government hospitals, all teachers come under frontline workers. I think all teachers need to take. Now coming down to preparing the children back to normal, I think, as it is rightly said by Mr. Amitwa and the panelists, it is preparing the mindset of everyone. It is not just preparing the mindset. Now preparing the mindset with the vaccine. So without vaccine, now will the parents be comfortable? Now already the thought put in the mind of the child, so you are not safe. So last 1 year, I think this thought has been being circulated in the social media, news media, maybe in the general talk, in the peer group. Child is in and out listening to, you are not safe. So now over a period of time, I think definitely when the schools reopen, child will be coming to school with the thought that he or she is not safe. So we need to prepare the child. Sometimes I think when you say when the child is sick, child is taken to the doctor. Maybe child doesn't need certain kind of medicine. Maybe doctor puts something in his mouth and child feels, okay, doctor has given a medicine. Psychologically, he is okay. Not that he has given an actual tablet which is required for his sickness. So we need to prepare children now psychologically in such a way. We need to find such medicine now. What are those things we need to see? Maybe meditation is one of the important things. Meditation, and I don't mean spirituality, concentration and making the child become mentally strong is very, very important. Meditation can make children mentally strong. Before I ask the child to meditate, I as a teacher, we as parents need to do that. And we need to make meditation as part of our good practice. So psychologically, definitely over a period of time, they will get balanced and they'll become stronger. And meditation also would give you positive outlook, make children even cram around positive affirmations and also positive thoughts, and also gives them a positive lookout when they look at things positively. So definitely they would take even this for one of the things, okay, that fear would go over a period of time. So we need to replace this fear with something else. The replacement, alternate is very important. When the child doesn't like the class, now sometimes they say the class is boring. Now teacher looks for a alternate arrangement. How can I bring humor in my teaching? How can make my class interesting? So even with the children now bringing that safety, how can I put this thought in an interesting way where child believes that he is safe in the school? For that, I need to prepare the mind of the parent. So how to prepare that mind? It is a challenging task. There cannot be one standard answer. There cannot be one standard solution. If there are 10 lakhs parents, there can be 10 lakhs solutions. So all have to work within their own purview and find for solution. And it is possible. It is possible when we think and believe. It is possible, things happen. Now, what is important? Creating a belief system that children are safe in school and bringing that safety in the mind of the child.
So I completely agree, because positive affirmation is definitely the way forward. Otherwise, what we do, we trap ourselves in the echo chamber of negativity and we keep on thinking the negative aspect. Very well said by Mr. Amitwa also, that we need to look for only verified sources. Otherwise, there are so many rumors. If we keep ourselves away from these, I think we can move ahead with positive affirmation. And Dr. Nicholas, I think you have already answered one of the questions which Mr. Vilas has asked about. He was worried about how to convince parents about reopening the school and how to convince children. There is one more question from Mr. Kuldeep Ratan. He has asked that it would be a pleasure to have students back in school, like you have given the example of China. But what about commuting? Again, challenging is social distancing and hygiene, which I think Mr. Amitwa has already conveyed while he was answering the question. Mr. Kunal Jeet has asked, in this pandemic, nothing is certain. So how school plan against uncertainty? I think uncertainty is there every day, and that is why we are sitting here and we are deliberating how to plan from plan A to plan Z. So if I take all these three questions, I would just like to add something for all the viewers. Please understand, we as educators are always very open, and I think we have shown the best empathetic practice during these time. Our schools were open to parents and our parents, how homes were open to school. So we understood each other in a better manner. Okay, there were many cases of fees and other things, but when we keep it aside, we were only and only focused about our learners. So let me present a very small analogy. I think most of you might have seen Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, and I very often quoted, when we see Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, there are three basic attributes to that. One is the chariot, wherein God and goddesses, they sit, Lord Krishna, Lord Balram, and Subhadra. So those are our students sitting on the chariot. And then there is one team who pulls the chariot and other team who cheers the people who are pulling the chariot. So consider our children are sitting on the chariot, and when parents pull it, we as educator needs to cheer for them. And when we will pull it as an educator, parents need to cheer for us. If we firmly believe that behind a child, two institutions, school and parents stand together, trust me, there won't be any tug of the war, and each one of us can move positively, because we have learned how many times the moon goes through phases, it overcomes. Similarly, how many times sun sets, every morning sun rises, and that is the ray of hope. And I think that is what we need to hold on, and we have to move ahead. So a quick last round from all the panelists. Any last mantra you want to give to anyone, just one line, quick one line, any mantra that you would like to give to all our audience to stay positive, to remain positive. Okay, we are not talking about corona positive, we are talking about positive mindset. Mr. Amitwa, let's start from you.
Yeah, I think last word, and because I saw a lot of questions also on this concern, the institutions, the educational institutions are doing a lot, but I think maybe it will help to ensure and empower the parents to send their child back to school, is to also demonstrate wherever possible, whether it is temperature checks, whether it is at times saying that this is what I'm doing. As you know, saying also matters. So wherever possible, certifying if possible from maybe the products being used for cleaning, the SOPs being taken, should be told very clearly to the parents, and communicate and make everybody a part of this. That is the only way to get out of this situation. Yeah. So everybody needs to do their part. Please communicate and consider that the school is doing everything possible in the benefit of the students to come back in a safe environment. So please communicate.
That's beautiful.
Please
yes, we need to communicate and we need to collaborate. True. Yes. Communicate and collaborate and move ahead together. Yes, Mrs. Vidya.
Yeah, I'll say that let us move ahead with the flow. Let us be positive. Let us accept the situation and let us face it bravely. That's the only mantra I can say.
That's wonderful. So we need to be like a river now. We have to keep on flowing, breaking all the barriers, and that is the success mantra. Dr. Nicholas, your view on that.
The problem solving is one of the 21st century skills. So we know this is the problem. So let's all face this problem together and make children, parents, teachers part of this problem and find a solution collectively. And there is a positive solution which we are going to come. When all of us work together, solution would be always collective. So let's work hand in hand.
Beautiful. When we work together, solution is bound to come. As you said, if we have 10 lakh people, there will be 10 lakh solution. I think, Nicholas, if we have 10 lakh people, we'll have 20 lakh solutions. So we have a lot of solution. We just have to see if plan A fails, we still have a lot of plans. So with this, we end today's panel discussion before we move ahead. And all the viewers who are watching us today, trust me, each one of us as an educator, we are waiting for our children to come. As I said in the beginning, the school buildings are just buildings. They are not school anymore, because we are missing the laughter. We are missing our students' positive energy and vibrancy, which brings our school alive. The soul of our school is our students. And we want to convey to each and every stakeholder of education, we as schools, we as society will never let our parents down, our teachers down, or our students down when it comes to safety and security. We are convinced that yes, we can open our school. That is why we are there in our workplace. And when we are there in workplace, you need to trust us that these workplaces are safer zones for your children to come. With this, I hand over the screen to Mr. Vaidyanathan. Sir, please take it forward. Thank you so much. It was very, very empowering and enriching.
Thank you, Dr. Seema Negi. I think at this very difficult time, this timing of the webinar would not have come in any other better time to speak to the people who are concerned. And we had one of the very eminent panelists coming and giving their inputs. I would like to first thank Dr. Amitava for his inputs and and methods for keeping the school premises and the office premises even keeping clean and hygiene, and then how we take forward from these 3 difficult times and then ensure everybody's safety. I would also like to thank Mrs. Vidya Purao for her impeccable ways of handling the children, how she is looking forward to seeing the children, because we all know, I don't think each one, we never got more than 1.5 months as a summer vacation, but the children have got more than a year. I think children have to come back to the schools, and that is where it actually they have to be. And we all would look forward to sending the children back to schools. And thank you, Dr. Nicholas, for your as an educator, you have provided one of the wonderful solutions for the children to come back to the schools, and what are the methods we have to take care. And I also Dr. Seema Negi for your impeccable way of putting the questions to the panelists and getting the wonderful answers. And thank you for each one of you for joining this wonderful session. In fact, I remember before we started speaking on this particular webinar, when Mr. Ajit Kotenath came to my office, and then we were actually having a discussion. All of a sudden he disappeared. I was only following him. He was actually speaking to my housekeeping people and asking him what is the kind of product they are using for cleaning. Then he came back and said, Vaidyanathan, this is not supposed to be used. They are just using phenyl. Phenyl is the one should not be used for cleaning. So I actually he made me to understand what is the good product to be used. I think we are with the leaders of the product who are making some good products. We immediately changed it. Then he explained why these are very important, that it is not just cleaning, it is hygiene is very important, and the right product to be used in the places where the children and as well as the people who are coming to the work are taken care, and the surfaces are cleaned well. So just to add one more very important thing is that my mantra, which we have been speaking about, I would say it is SMS. So basically, please sanitize your hands, as Mr. Amitava add the birthday jingle also, so that you complete that the time required for that. And also wear always the mask, and then keep the social distancing. So the SMS is the mantra. Let's all looking back to the academic year coming, with the children coming back to the schools, and with the safety. Thank you very much on behalf of the Hindu for joining this webinar. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Something very nice written in the Q&A session. I will quickly read it. It says, written by Dilshad Sheikh, history of every institution will remember how we sailed our institution from this drastic situation. Future baton holders will take our name, how we fought this war, and most importantly, how gracefully we fought it. Such a beautiful way to end this session. Thank you, Mr. Dilshad.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dilshad, for writing some wonderful words. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.